It's Friday, March 29, the end of another work week. We have lots to tell you. The Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, will begin hearing matters on May 10 related to the appeals of the Guyana Court of Appeal rulings on the December 21, 2018 vote. President of the CCJ, Justice Adrian Saunders, made the announcement earlier today, strongly advising that all attorneys appearing on May 10 do so physically in court and not via Skype. The matters have been consolidated. On Friday, March 22, appellate judges Yonit Cummings-Edwards and Don Gregory upheld the argument that an absolute majority is required for the passage of a no-confidence motion against the government. More on this story can be read on our website. Government's commitment to youth development and empowerment was today reiterated by President David Granger as he officially opened the inaugural Regional Youth Caucus held at the Arthur Chung Conference Center.
Rest assured that the government will continue to work with you to develop your talents to enable you to provide the leadership that Guyana needs. We would like to create a cadre of youth leaders in every region, young people who are committed to developing your regions.
The head of state told delegates that they must position themselves to become trained and empowered leaders.
Young people, therefore, must prepare themselves to work in the engine rooms of local, regional, and national development.
President Granger further stated,
Your government is empowering young people by involving them in decision-making in the neighborhoods and villages and at the regional and national levels. It is listening increasingly to the concerns of young people.
The president expressed that youth involvement must not be purely seen in governmental terms, but it must be seen also in cultural expression. He further pledged to ensure adequate opportunities for cultural expressions are made available.
Reporting from the Regional Youth Caucus hosted at the Arthur Chung Conference Center in Liliendal with videographer Leon Leung and Narakan for InfoHub.
Residents of Maruca, Region 1, in a matter of weeks will benefit from a modern bridge valued $110 million. Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson and a team inspected the works done thus far and expressed satisfaction with the progress.
The $110 million Maruca Bridge will bring relief to the over 10,000 residents within the Region 1 sub-district who endured hardship with the old wooden structure.
We had like 3 wooden bridges before this bridge. But of course, it went bad, but it was wood. So this concrete bridge here for us is a plus.
I think it's a very nice bridge that is put down there, and I think that would last for a very long time, and it would benefit we.
I'm happy to know that we had a nice bridge that everybody could get to walk, could get something living to people, put in a taxi and take it across. So I'm happy to know that.
Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson today visited and inspected the works done on the bridge. He committed to ensuring that works are done on the approaches on both sides of the bridge.
But I'm quite pleased in the end to be able to do this for the community. It's an all-weather bridge. It has safety features. We're going to be putting on some lights on it, some solar lights. We're going to put on some navigation lights and those things like that. So therefore, at the end, within 3 weeks, that's the time that we have. In another 3 weeks, we're going to open it. It'll be a perfect example of what we should do for bridges in this communities. The bridge is phase 1. We have committed that we would go the approaches and the roads in the area. We've committed to do that. So obviously, we're going to do a bit more work in phase 1 to complete phase 1, which is the approaches, a concrete slab about 30 feet each side, and then obviously we're going to do the roads, both connecting roads to both sides of the bridge. That's phase 2, and then obviously phase 3 would be continuing the road network in the whole Santo Jose region.
From the Maruca sub-district in Region 1 with videographer Kwesi Wishart, I am Seneca Thorne for InfoHub.
Meanwhile, during today's Regional Youth Caucus, President Granger emphasized the critical role public infrastructure plays in bridging the gap between the coast and the hinterland. The head of state pointed to the many transformational projects undertaken by the coalition government, with the most recent being the construction of the Maruca Bridge. Destination Guyana is the highlight of a visiting cruise ship of tourists who are expected to spend the next 3 days here at the #1 best ecotourism destination in the world.
I'm on board the MS Serenissima, which moored in Port Georgetown this morning, and both tourists and local tourism officials are excited about this visit.
We've travelled down the Lesser Antilles from north to south, starting in Antigua. Then we've stopped at Tobago and Trinidad, rather than Trinidad and Tobago. And then we've had about probably 48 hours, I think it is, on the sea, which we were not ready for, to get down to Guyana. And this is the highlight as far as I'm concerned.
Why is it the highlight?
Kiter Falls.
Nice people, wonderful weather, interesting scenery. Yeah, first time to Guyana, and it was the fact that this trip was coming to Guyana that was part of the appeal.
There are great expectations of coming to Guyana. It's supposed to be the highlight of our cruise, and it's so wonderful to come to somewhere where you do not have many cruise ships. And we feel for you. I come from a small island in the English Channel, and we have lots of cruise ships, and we're very pleased to see visitors cruising, and I hope that many more ships will come to Guyana.
The MS Serenissima was here in April 2014, and discussions started about having another longer visit since it was only here for 1 day.
We're very, very pleased to be back and have such a wonderful welcome. Some ports you go to and it's almost a bit like we're an inconvenience, but then here it's the opposite way round. And it's very exciting. And you felt the passengers came up this morning and said you can feel the vibe coming from the shore side already, and that was just from the police control unit.
Director General of the Department of Tourism, Donald Sinclair, was part of the welcoming party for the visitors. He explained that a special task force was established to ensure that the visit here was well organized and executed. This task force is made up of officials from several agencies, including the GRA, Port Health, tour operators, the police, and the CDC. Sinclair said operating procedures will be developed to ensure that this standard is kept, especially with new prospects in local tourism. The tourists are mostly from the United Kingdom, and after visiting Guyana, they will dock in Suriname before departing by air for home.
For Info Hub, I'm Natasha Smith.
Still to come, Finance Minister says Guyana on the move. Special Olympic athletes honored for exceptional performance in Dubai, and first parliamentary meeting set for early April, and more from post-cabinet roundup. Details of these and other stories when we return.
Are you ready to embark on a truly epic adventure to an undiscovered corner of South America, where some of the most spectacular natural attractions are unveiled within a beautifully diverse landscape? From the wetlands and savannas to the ancient mountains, magnificent waterways and lush enriching rainforest would provide a vast playground for some of the most exotic and breathtaking creatures on the planet, including many of the world's giant species. This untouched land of mystery and wonder serves up an exclusive experience for travelers. So are you ready for a new, awe-inspiring adventure? Welcome back to nature. Welcome to Guyana.
Welcome back. Guyana's 4.1% gross domestic product growth rate for 2018 was today described as solid by Minister of Finance Winston Jordan.
It is the first time under this government that we have crossed the threshold 4%, and I think it was a significant achievement for last year.
The performance of several sectors such as sugar, forestry, livestock, gold, wholesale and retail trade, along with oil and gas related activities, the minister explained, contributed to the economy's sterling growth rate.
I do recall, if you, as you wouldn't, that our growth had sunk below 3% in 2017. So this was a quite sharp rebound in 2018. And do remember that our growth projection for 2019 is 4.4%. Excuse me. That has not been revised in spite of this performance. We'll try to keep it there, and at the half year, look and see how the sectors are performing, and at that time we will determine whether we need to revise the growth rate for 2019.
Minister Jordan said he is in agreement with President David Granger regarding the utterances by the private sector, whose views appear to differ from reality. The building boom, the expansion of Banks DIH and Damrar Distillers Limited, along with the high declaration of profits by banks, are to be noted, he explained.
Indeed, some of those who are trying to cast a pall are behind the scenes investing heavily, either singly or in partnership with others. You know, so I totally agree with the president and his assessment of how the economy has been performing.
The minister said that any objective assessment of the local economy would show that it is one that is on the move and improving. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
Guyanese silver medalist Faith King says it was an amazing experience representing Guyana in Dubai at the Special Olympics World Summer Games. King competed in the 400-meter race at the Games.
It was amazing because Guyana's we are one people want to show and destiny. Go there and do your best and coming back. For example, I go in the 400 meter, I be my second place. I believe I can do all things so Christ.
King, who attends the St. Barnabas Special School, was among 3 others who were honored for their outstanding performances at the Games. Even though her performance was exceptional on the biggest stage for special sports, the young lady remains humble.
I feel so proud of myself. I never feel so happy, but it wasn't for God. We want to be here today.
Calvin Thomas ran the 5,000-meter race and copped a bronze medal at the Games and said it feels great to be recognized for his hard work. Thomas also helped the team capture a bronze medal in the 4x400-meter event.
The relay for this is the first time I've ever run a leg from the start. So I didn't know I could really do that, but it was comfortable.
Permanent Secretary to the Department of Social Cohesion, Melissa Tucker, congratulated the athletes for their exceptional performances. Tucker said their success is an inspiration to all Guyanese.
The government contributed the sum of $2 million towards Team Guyana's participation at the Special Olympics. This is testament to our pledge to invest in our athletes and help realize their dreams to one day represent the golden arrowhead. The
other 2 athletes honored were Abdullah Braffit and Dacia George, who won silver and bronze in their 400-meter race, respectively. Isaiah Braffit for InfoHub.
At today's post-cabinet media briefing, following the first meeting of the cabinet for 2019 on Tuesday, Minister of State Joseph Harmon gave light to a number of issues discussed.
Minister Harmon said the first parliamentary sitting following the Court of Appeal's ruling on the validity of the December 21, 2018 vote would be in early April.
I'm advised that the date for the next sitting of the National Assembly will be on the 11th of April, 2019.
The minister said government awaits the advice of its legal counselor on the matter of dual citizenship of ministers of government.
And it is also a matter which is being appealed to the Caribbean Court of Justice as one of the grounds for appeal. In that regard, the attorneys representing the state will advise the government with respect to the situation with members of the government that are dual citizens. So in that regard, I will say that this matter is still engaging the attention and Cabinet has not made a ruling on it. In that regard, it is contemplated that on the 11th of April 2019, when the National Assembly sits, that all of the members on the government side will be there.
Minister Harmon rubbished claims of the house-to-house registration process being used to disenfranchise eligible voters.
When the enumerators from the Elections Commission go to your house, that you should be there. And therefore, if you reside overseas and you're not there at the time when the enumerators go to your house, then you cannot be considered to be on the list of electors. It's not a matter of disenfranchising anyone. Our laws do not provide for overseas voting, save and except those persons who are in the employ of the state and are in the embassies and so on abroad.
Minister Harmon also answered pressing questions in relation to the implementation of the recommendations from the Lindo Creek COI.
The government has not made a firm ruling on the matter. There are some recommendations that have been made by the Commission of Inquiry into that commission, into the atrocities which were committed and the deaths which occurred. But there's been no formal ruling on compensation as yet.
Cabinet also approved the appointment of several boards. These include the establishment of a Juvenile Justice Committee, appointment of members of the Board of Directors of the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, Guyana Forestry Commission, Guyana Gold Board, the Adoption Board, among others.
It is to be noted that provision has been made on all of these boards for the appointment of members of the opposition, but it's important to note that over the last period, that none of these positions were taken up.
Reporting for InfoHub, Nikosi Bruce.
That's all for this evening. Connect with us on WhatsApp, like and subscribe to our Facebook page for notifications, and subscribe to our website for more stories. You can also follow us on Instagram for updates. Your bridge and weather reports are up next. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Goodbye.